Hello, welcome to another presentation on quality auditing. My name is Sharkey Watkins, and before we start our presentation, I would like to do a short review. The previous session on auditor training, we discussed these items: audit purpose, audit objectives, audit scope, and audit benefits. I would like to have a short quiz in a slide presentation, and then we will continue the presentation for this session. See you there. Some questions that simulate an actual CQA exam question. Now you may pause after the question so you can have an opportunity to figure out which is the correct answer. So the first slide would be the question, and the second slide I will give you the answer. Let's go there. The first question here is, a conflict of interest threatens which of the following audit attributes? And you're given 4. So you may pause here while you try to figure out which answer is the correct answer. The correct answer is objectivity. Performance, completion, and clarity can still be performed in the audit, but the conflict of interest directly relates to objectivity. Second question. The type of audit which verifies that the system, process, or product satisfies the requirements as set forth in the contractual requirements, procedure, and or other agreed upon standard is A, and you're given four answers: first party audit, process audit, compliance audit, and quality system review. Now take a look and look at the question carefully and try to figure out what's the correct answer. The correct answer is compliance audit. So what do we know about first party audit? We know from our lesson, first party audit is an internal audit. So this could not be one of the choices. This is not the best answer. The second choice, procedural audit, yes, it could be a possible answer, but it's not the best answer here because we're looking at system, process, and products, right? Now, why compliance audit is correct and not quality system review? Well, if it was quality system audit, probably that would be a most appropriate answer. But this is a quality system review, and it's not one of the 3 of the audits. So compliance audit is the best answer in this case. The next question is, your company has been advised that it will be the subject of a pre-award survey. You're advised management to prepare for, and you're given 4 questions. So pause and take a look and make your figure out which one it is. Let's go to the answer. The answer is, it's an announced audit. So what do we know about a pre-award survey? A pre-award survey is given to your supplier. So a risk audit is noise in this question. An internal audit, it couldn't be because you're looking at a pre-award survey, which is a supplier. And then a third-party audit, it looks good, but it's not the correct answer. Remember, a third-party audit does not have a financial relationship with the company, but a pre-award survey does have, the company or survey has a financial or will have a financial arrangement with your company where they produce product and provide or supply you with products. So that's the financial benefit to both parties. So the best answer here is an announced audit. Next question. The three general types of audit are, and you're given A through D, and you may pause, and if you have done your homework, this would be a pretty easy question to get on the exam. Some of the questions on the exam is ones that are pretty quick because it's a time exam, so you want to get the low-hanging fruit quickly, as fast as you can, so you can go on to the more difficult questions. So let's look at the answer. So those are the three major types of audit: product, process, and system. And in our lesson, we discussed product, process, and system, which the other audits, the special audits, all tied into one of these, right? So now another question here is, two auditors are preparing to audit a sister company in another division of the corporation that supplies a product to their company. This will be A, and you have A through D, and your job is to figure out which one is the correct answer. You may pause. The correct is B, a second-party audit. So we know what is a third-party audit. A third-party audit is typically it's someone that does not have a business relationship, financial relationship with your company. A second party that fits because your other division is acting as a supplier. So when you audit a supplier, it's a second party audit. First party audit does not apply because that's your internal audit. And then second and third party audit is a combination, and you could eliminate that. Next question. The principal participants in a quality audit are which of the following? Now, from studying and reading your assignment, this is also a gimme for the students. Client, auditee, and auditor. The three-party to an audit. The client is the company or person who commissioned the audit. The auditee is the company or person who receives the audit. They're being audited. And the auditor is the company or person who conducts the audit. So pretty straightforward, right? With that being said, let's move on to this session presentation. This section is on audit criteria. Auditing criteria includes the standards, contracts, specifications, policies, and quality awards. Most of these criteria were defined earlier in this section under definition. Auditing standards. Before looking at industry or international standards, an auditor should be knowledgeable of recognized auditing guidelines. The best current guideline is found in ISO 19011, revision 2018, Guidelines for Auditing Management Systems. All auditors should be familiar with this standard. Let's look at industry standards. Industry standards are numerous. Some industries have several associations that publish standards. An example of this is the electronics industry, in which the Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineer, known as IEEE, has at least 14 specialty divisions. All of these divisions can publish standards through IEEE. Standards may cover elements from international or national standards, calculations and design, treatments and special processes, quality control, and quality assurance. There are more references in your textbook. Explaining the character of the industry standards, the automotive industry utilized IATF 16949. IATF stands for International Automotive Task Force. It's similar to the ISO 9001 modified. And third, most industry accept the test methods of ASTM. Take a look at IATF 16949 a little closer and see how it's laid out. IATF 16949 is an ISO 9001-2015 in its entirety with significant additions to many elements. Additionally, 6 other documents may be required by Ford, Chrysler, General Motors, and other OEMs. These documents are Advanced Product Quality Planning and Control Plan, Production Part Approval Process, Potential Failure Mode and Effects Analysis, Measurement System Analysis, Statistical Process Control, and Automotive Certification Scheme. Here on other major industry and international standards. Each organization must determine which standards are applicable to their business. Included in the decision are both regulatory and customer requirements. The organization must also determine whether it will ignore the quality system requirements, comply with some or all of the requirements, comply with the requirements and obtain third-party registration or accreditation showing that they meet the requirements. Any other quality system standards which apply to specific industry. Let's take at ISO 9001. The performance of an organization is judged by the quality of its products or services. To meet the trend of increasing quality expectations worldwide, a series of standards have been established, which includes ISO 9000, ISO 9001, and ISO 9004. The ISO 9001 standards apply to quality management and to external quality assurance. This standards has been increasingly used for audits in Europe and North America. A comment here on ISO 13485. ISO 13485 is a modification to ISO 9001 for the medical device industry. This slide shows the bullet points for ISO 9001, and this slide also shows the bullet points for ISO 9001. Details benefits to an organization in implementing a quality management to include an ability to provide products and services that meets customer and applicable and statutory requirements, to realize the opportunities to enhance customer satisfaction, address risk and opportunities to achieve objectives, and to demonstrate conformity to address specific quality management system requirements. The following verbal forms are used. Shall, which indicate a requirement, should, which indicates a recommendation, may, which indicates a permission, can, which indicates a possibility. As you can see from the presentation slide, there is 132 shall, and shall statements are requirements. It is based on the following quality management principles as listed: customer focus, leadership, people engagement, a process approach, continuous improvement, evidence-based decision making, relationship management. A PDCA cycle is recommended for improvement activities. CA stands for Plan, Do, Check, Act. This approach enables consistency in meeting requirements, consideration for added value, achievements of effective performance, and evaluation of information to improve performance. This slide lays out the Plan, Do, Check, Act cycle. Risk-based thinking. Risk-based thinking helps achieve an effective QMS. It should be noted that risk and risk-based thinking are referred to a total of 49 times in the standard. And the following slides shows some of the key requirements in ISO 9001-2015. I will not spend too much time on this since you could read this from your primer. So let's move on through some of these slides. Some comments I have on leadership is: how does an organization or management demonstrate leadership? One is, I noted here, is establish a quality management system, adequate staffing, having management review, establishing a CAPA system, training, having an open door policy, and possibly a hotline to call anonymously to report concerns. Next is the policy, and again, how does management demonstrate this? And one is, you could have a policy published, but does the employee knows the quality policy? And this, you're looking, when you're looking to verify this in an audit, you're looking at whether, not necessarily someone memorized the quality policy, but can they find it, or can they locate it? Do they know what it is? Is it posted? So that's something to think about, and there may be other ways to demonstrate it. What you're looking for here is management vested. Are they communicating the quality policy, and is there evidence of it? And then the third one, 5.3, organization role. And this is, do they have job description, organization chart? Are they given the authority and responsibility to make decision and to carry out their responsibility? So these are a couple of things you want to look for here. More information in the primer, and my expectation is that you read through those and understand it. So let's move forward with these slides. Slide that internal audit falls under performance evaluation. And 921 states that the organization shall conduct internal audits at planned intervals to determine if the quality management system conforms to the organization's own requirements for its quality management system and meet the requirement of ISO 9001 or whatever your quality standard is. It could be 13485, etc. It continues, and it says that the organization shall plan, implement, and maintain an audit program And this is your policy and your schedule, your audit schedule, to provide evidence of that. Define audit criteria and scope for each audit. That's a record, and it could be procedural too. The procedure should say how you should plan an audit. Select auditors and ensure objectivity and impartiality of audits. That's qualifications for your auditors. Report results of the audits to relevant management. That depends upon the client. Some of this is standardized. If it's an internal audit, you already know where the audit report goes. But there are times when an audit is being commissioned by a client and the report only goes to the client. Take appropriate corrective action without undue delay. Issue CAR or SCAR. CAR is corrective action request. SCAR is from a supplier corrective action request. And this also depends upon the client. Sometimes when you get a third-party audit, the client or the company would only want a report issue, and they would take the necessary corrective action internally, and your job is done and you move on. Retain documented information as evidence of implementation of audit program and audit results. That's your records, your policy, your audit schedule. These are evidence of your program. So let's move on. Here, and this is all under performance evaluation for your quality system, and it talks about management review. Look at ISO 14000. ISO 14001 2015 specifies the requirement of an environmental management system, and it is compatible with and share many elements of ISO 9001. Water quality system standard, these are in your primer, and I expect you to read these. This slide is the Audit Criteria for Performance Excellence. I expect you to read this. A little bit about this information here that's noteworthy is that if you look at the categories, leadership, strategy, customers, measurement, workforce, operations, and results, 45% of the points you can score is from results. So approximately half of the 1,000 points scored can be from results. Noteworthy that's not here is Malcolm Baldrige was a Secretary of State from 1981 to 1987, and he was a big supporter of quality and quality management, and that's why the award was named after him. This is the end of this portion of the presentation. I expect that you will read it in more detail from the primer. And until next time, Sharky out.